Now some new modeling towards schools look promising. Good to see you again.
Hey, good to be here.
Talk to me here. So, look, I know there's a lot of schools out there that some are trying to go back, some will not go back. Some might do this hybrid of online schooling and at-home schooling and in classroom. Talk about how this could be a time for some innovation.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, for the last few months, a lot of American parents have pretty much taken on the role of teachers in some ways, or have been forced to, having to supervise, their children's learning, ensuring they get all caught up. And they end up effectively on the hook for a lot of the in-class instruction that isn't happening. And often, a lot of the time, they don't have the guidance they need. They don't have the support they need. And some families find that quite difficult and trying. And many children are going to be left behind. They'll be behind on their learning. But right now, more than ever, it's important to give families the options they need. And there are a number of innovative models that provide the dual benefits of having a homeschool environment where you have the individualized attention and the parental autonomy and control, with the benefits of having a traditional school with a social support network of like-minded parents, a community, and the sort of structure that comes with a normal schooling environment. And now more than ever is a time to allow families to take some of those dollars that are earmarked for their child's education to a school, like a hybrid school or a micro school, that will actually serve them in this tough time.
So those are two terms that I've not heard in the context of education, hybrid and micro school. But I look at it this way. We've talked in our region here about parents who are doing something very similar, where they're banding together, and they know that they have to educate their kids as a whole together because they just can't do it alone. They're going to do it with some help from the schools here. So what can be done in the interim? School, for a lot of schools, they're going to open up within the next month or so. What can be done to make this transition effective and for the students educational?
Sure. So at the moment, a lot of schools across the country continue to be funded at their old rate of funding, even though they're not providing the same amount or level of instruction or services. And what I say simply is this: look, rather than threatening to cut their funding unless they open, like the Trump administration recently did, why not allow a fraction of that $15,000 price tag that taxpayers are paying for, quite a heavy price tag, to go directly to the parents? And they can spend that money on homeschooling expenses. They can take it to a micro school or a hybrid school or any school that will provide them with services that their regular school is not providing them with. And that way, the kids are able to catch up on their learning, and we're making the most use of the money that we do already have within the system during a very difficult fiscal time as well.
How do you make it accountable? How do you make sure that that money, if it were to be turned over to the parents, that they're spending it on their kids and doing what's in their best interest?
So already in places like Arizona, we have education savings accounts, which allow parents to use a portion of this taxpayer money to spend on education expenses. That can only be spent on K-12 education expenses. It's in a special bank account for that purpose, so that accountability exists. But on top of that, if you have taxpayer money flowing to schools that are not traditional government schools, they can be subject to the same kinds of standardized testing that a government school might go through. That's one option. That's one way of doing it. And right now, even though ESAs are normally reserved for special circumstances often, we're all in a very special circumstance.